Hello and welcome back to another movie review. As always, I'm Kelly, and I just got out of Onward. Admittedly, this is coming out a little late, but it is getting a release on Disney Plus, so I feel it kind of counts anyway. Yes, this is one of the films I did manage to see before the theaters shut down. It's just been kind of hectic with everything else going on. Stay inside and stay safe. I don't get that luxury because I work at a grocery store, and I don't know why people are freaking out over toilet paper of all things during this, considering that diarrhea is not a symptom, but whatever. That's not important to what we're talking about. What we're talking about here is a film, a Pixar film. Okay, I have to say this for the record. I feel that this movie is a step in the right direction for Pixar. They have been on a sequel kick for a long while now. Like 6-7 years. It seems like they haven't put any effort in trying to make anything original, just sequels and prequels to everything they had before. And I'm not going to argue the quality of those. I'm just saying Pixar succeeds and does its best when it's doing original material, not Toy Story 4. With that said, I can't say that this is actually in the pantheon of truly great Pixar films, because it's not. It really isn't. The story, while the heart is in the right direction, is bogged down by some really idiotic decisions, and honestly, a pretty lackluster voice cast. Other than Chris Pratt, Tom Holland, and everyone else, they're just there. Chris Pratt's the only one that really feels like he's injecting life into his character. But I do like the sentiments of this film, as well as a lot of the effects, and the idea that maybe we can learn things from the past that aren't, horrible or misguided, or insert political jokes here. Overall, I will say this is a good film. I just wish they went through one or two more rewrites, just so we could have gotten something great out of it. Now that I've got my initial thoughts out of the way, let's go into some more detailed, spoilerish discussion of it, and what I feel it did really good and what it did bad, of course, starting with always the good. It's kind of cliche to start off the good section of a Pixar film discussion like this, but it just has to be said. Everything in this film looks fucking gorgeous. The particle effects, the rubble, the backgrounds, the details, the textures. This is what Pixar is really, really good at, and they definitely deliver here. There are some genuinely just breathtaking scenes of just looking out in the expanse of this world as they're going on this big adventure. And I will say that most of that adventure is very, very well handled, and I like the ideas of it, especially the brother aspects of it. While I wasn't blown away with Tom Holland's performance, Chris Pratt really brings an energy here that really sells that these two are brothers. They are in polar opposite sides of the spectrum, but you can see that they're trying to find a way to meet in the middle. They're compromising for each other, whether it be Tom Holland having to accept the more eccentric side of his brother, or his brother having to accept that maybe he's going a little overboard and he has to listen to his brother's more realistic, grounded perspective. And I really do like the idea of Tom Holland's big discovery after the third act breakup. We'll talk about that in a second. But that he had his brother there the entire time, always supporting him, always pushing him to do better. Even when he was at his quote-unquote worst, he was always there. And that brotherly love aspect of it is something that really does shine through, and I feel that that moment really carries this movie and elevates it over some of its mediocrity. I also like some of the setups for a lot of these jokes. We saw a more modern fairy tale thing in like Bright on Netflix, which I'm pretty sure I'm like the 1000th person to actually connect this movie to that, but it's just the one that did it most recently and most famously bad. But here we do see a lot of the same setups there, but with actual thought process of, wait, how would this actually work in a more modern sense? The general premise is that the world used to be filled with magic, but magic was hard and only a few people could actually do it. So they invented technology, and eventually there wasn't really a need to learn magic anymore because, well, we've got our own version of it. So you have to see some of the technology warp around these creatures and how they would end up using things. And you get to see the little subtle touches here and there in the background, like with how the cars, they look like regular cars, but then you open the door and you see different interiors because they've got to accommodate something else inside of there. Sure, they came up with the engine and a chassis, but everything else is fair game to mess around with. And it's those little subtle touches that really does help elevate this film in a lot of different ways and show the creativity of this world in general. And I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel where they expand on some of these aspects. But with that said, I can't act like that this film does it perfectly in any sense of the imagination. Hell, we've seen this done a lot better. Going into the negative side, Monsters, Inc. kind of did a lot of these subtle world-building touches a lot better. Even when it was just, stupid throwaway lines like, "Oh, do you have some odorant?" And you're like, "I got wet, smelly dog." No. I got this. I got trash. They're stinking up. They're similar but different because they're monsters, gross and whatnot. We do get that in here. The problem is that it feels almost like an afterthought. Like they didn't put enough thought into the world. Again, comparing it to Bright that did this horribly wrong, this film does do it better than that. But it's the same kind of disconnect where it feels like certain things shouldn't exist in this world because it's a fairy tale land. I mentioned the subtle touches with the cars. However, there's another van inside this, but it's just a regular van. I mean, wouldn't you want to accommodate that a little bit? I mean, go crazy with some of your monster designs. Why don't we have giants walking around in the background, waving and saying hi? I mean, they had in Zootopia with the giraffes and things. You can definitely see that this isn't necessarily a new idea, and it has been done better in better Disney films. But while that's more of a nitpick, I have to mention that the cast in general feel like they're just there. Again, Chris Pratt is giving his all, and I really do get this sense of adventure and longing from his character. I don't really get that from anybody else's, and I think that's mostly because one of these actors has more experience voice acting than the others do. And don't get me wrong, there are some fun lines like Octavia's manic whore going off in little tangents and rants. The mother, whose actress I can't think of at the top of my head, she does a couple of good things, but again, it just feels par for the course. It doesn't feel like they're stretching, expanding, or getting, let's be honest, real voice actors here. They're getting big-name actors to sell the movie. Wait, you mean Spider-Man's gonna be in a movie? With Star-Lord? Oh my gosh, we gotta watch this, guys! If I can feel your marketing decisions in the middle of your movie, that is a very bad sign. We'll talk about that more when we get to The Hunt. But if there is one aspect of this movie that is holding it back, that is making it so that it really does not flow at all, it's the goddamn pair of legs you've seen in the trailer. Because, way too much time is spent on these stupid legs. The general gist of these legs is essentially that they're their dad. He created a spell so he could come back and see his sons all grown up, but they only have one day. They have to go on a quest to find the magical MacGuffin crystal so that they can complete the spell and say hi to their dad before sunset. This film would have been much, much, much better had they not summoned those stupid legs, because they take up way too much time of this movie, and honestly, the jokes aren't that funny with them. Most of them I saw in Ratatouille. Like, they even do the whole shoulder thing in there with the pixies and whatnot. It's like, they did that in Ratatouille when Linguini was knocked out. What? You're recycling jokes. You can't connect with these legs because they don't have any personality. They're a pair of legs. The most we get is a dance sequence with them, which really doesn't feel worth it when they take up so much else of this movie. A better version of this movie is if they hadn't summoned the legs, but instead just go on the quest to find the Phoenix Crystal. Then you actually keep the focus on the brothers, which is the best part of this movie, bar none. And you can even still have the ticking clock element of them. They have to do it in 24 hours because they tried starting the spell and it turns out they just didn't have enough fuel for it. So they have to either complete the spell or let it die out. There are better ways of doing this story, and I just feel these legs are a gimmick. They're there to sell the movie to kids. They'll find them funny. I found them more annoying, but then again, I hate Olaf, so what do I know? Because we have these legs in here, they basically stick to the 3-act structure we see in almost every kid's film, including the 3rd-act breakup, which they don't even pretend is anything other than a small spat, because it takes like 5 minutes for Tom Holland to realize, oh no, I was a dick, and run back. It's just, we've done this before and better. Can we please get rid of these legs and move on to a better film? But with that said, I can't act like this film is terrible in any stretch of the imagination, because it's not. There's a lot of good here, and there's nothing offensive inside of it. I do hope that Pixar keeps up this direction with new material, new IPs. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to Onward. because they wouldn't have a pair of legs inside of it dragging it down. They can do more with it. Overall, I would normally give this a see it at discounted theater price, but considering all theaters are closed right now, I think I'm going to have to adjust my rating a little bit here. So, what would I give this? Is it worth the streaming $20-25 that Disney's going to charge for it? I'd actually say yes. Now, this is going into actually how overpriced theaters can get sometimes, but for me, it'll cost me more money to watch this film for streaming, and I probably would say wait for Redbox, because I'm by myself. I'm not going to spend $20-25 for a stream of a movie. I'm not renting it for 48 hours type thing. That's not worth it. But for someone like, say, my friend Javier and his kids and his wife, going to the theaters for him is like $60-80. $20 to watch this in your own home? I'd actually say, yeah, that is worth it. If you have a family, absolutely. Considering we have nothing else to do except, sit around our house and watch stuff, absolutely, you'll love this film. You go on a nice little magical adventure with your family. If you're like me and it's just one person that you're renting it for, it's really not worth $20. Just wait for the red box. Then you can get it for $1.50, $2. And that's it for me. Have you seen Onward? Are you enjoying the quarantine time that we're all subjected to here across the world? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Let's get some healthy discussion going. And as always, if you like this video or just want to support the channel, like, share, comment, subscribe especially. That helps my channel the most right now. Help me get this channel up there, and hopefully I'll be doing this full time and things will actually come out on time when I do it. Also, if you're looking for more content from me, I do stream every Thursday night. Normally it's 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, but because of the quarantine and the theaters all being closed for at least the next month or two, I'm going to start pushing that back 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and make that kind of the consistent time. But it is every Thursday. It's here on YouTube. I'll probably start something on Twitch on like a Tuesday or something once school lets out. And yeah, that's it for me. So I'll see you all next time.